Bismillah. Okay. So the niyyah is condition of salah. Is niyyah a condition of salah? Now there is a difference between the madhahib, what is conditions of salat. You understand? There is different opinions about the madhahib, what is the conditions of salah. We take the conditions of salah. You know what is the difference between condition and a pillar. A condition is something that is, if you don't do it, your prayer will be invalid altogether. Meaning, whether you forget it by mistake or intentionally, it doesn't matter. You understand? The pillar is same thing. If you forget it, if you don't do it, if you miss a pillar, your prayer will be invalid. Doesn't matter you have forgotten or you made it intentionally. The difference between condition and a pillar is something that is within the prayer, part of the prayer. You understand? A condition is something that is outside, not part of the prayer, like wudu is condition. You understand? Now we consider the wudu is condition of prayer. You see, the Prophet said, "La wudu'a, la yaqbalu Allahu salata man ahdatha hatta yatawadda." Allah will not accept the prayer. That is, make it of someone who has lost his wudu until he does wudu. So that is make it a condition. It's like la salata liman lam yaqra' bi al-kitab. Wudu is condition. Fatiha is a rukn, pillar, because it is within the prayer. Not. So that difference between niyyah is a condition. It is, you start it before the prayer, before you enter the prayer, and you have to keep it during the prayer. I mean, you don't have to think all the time about that I am praying, as long as you don't during the prayer change it, like you are praying and then you change it, like I have decided to stop the prayer now, or I have decided to, I was praying dhuhr, now I have decided to pray, that what you prayed before has been annullified. Now you have to start from fresh, because prayer will start with takbir generally. So the niyyah is a condition and of the prayer. We started before, even though you have to keep it that way. So it is a condition. If you forget to do the niyyah, then your prayer is invalid. You understand? Of course, it is different. Now, people will say, the fuqaha of the madhahib will say, you can't do the niyyah. And when you do the niyyah, you have a short time to start the action. But they don't say how much is this short time. They say as long as it's not long time, then it's fine. Like Allahu Akbar. Ibn Hazm say no. Say if we give you 1 minute, that means 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then forever. As long, the truth is, what Ibn Hazm say here is wrong. You don't have to have the intention straight away before the prayer. You understand? Just like when I am going to lift my hand, I say Allahu Akbar. Before that, then I have to make the intention. As if I came to pray dhuhr and I have the intention to pray dhuhr, I will have that intention until if I have not changed it. I went home to pray dhuhr. So I am going there, waiting until I stand up. Even when I stand up, if I didn't think about it, but I know I am standing, why I stood up for dhuhr. You understand? So as long as I have not changed that niyyah, it's fine. And then of course I'm not going to do niyyah for asr until I have finished my dhuhr, and then, you understand? So if you stand up for prayer not knowing what you are doing at all, or you stand up for prayer, let's say someone stood up for prayer thinking that this is Isha. He forgot that it's Maghrib. And then he is praying with the intention of Isha. And then he remembered that this is actually Maghrib time. then this prayer is invalid. He must do it again. You understand? This is here. You can't ask. You see, sometimes Ibn Hazm say always you have to have the intention. What about exactly at the beginning of the action? What does he say about Fajr, for example, about fasting? What if someone doesn't wake up in the minute that the day starts? Someone is made niyyah at night, and then, you understand? The hadith that says, for example, that you have to do niyyah during the night doesn't say exactly when, is not sahih. So as long as you have the niyyah at the beginning of the month, you know that you are going to fast every day. That is enough. So the niyyah is, you have to have the niyyah for prayer. Yeah. If there is anything you want more clarification, you stop me. Yeah, I am going to that. Now, does the niyyah have to be the same as imam? No, the niyyah doesn't have to be the same as imam, because there is nothing to say that the niyyah has to be as imam. The Ahnaf, when they insist on the niyyah to be the same as imam, they use this hadith, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. The imam is made to be followed. That hadith is not general. The imam is to be followed. It doesn't say إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. Is not to be taken just like this. He said it, and then afterwards he said فَإِذَا كَبَّرَ فَكَبِّرُوا. This is general, and then he explained where the imam is to be followed, is meant to be followed. So if he does takbir, you have to do takbir. If he does ruku', you have to do ruku'. Meaning, you don't do it before him. If he does sujud, you do sujud. You have to do sujud. You don't do ruku' when he's doing sujud. And I mean, if you come late and he has started the sujud, you don't do ruku' and then you go for sujud later. He does sujud, you have to follow him. And then you don't do it as well before him. You do it after he does it. You wait for him to do it, then because he is the imam. And if he does ruku', you do ruku'. If he does sujud, you do sujud. If he does salam, you do salam. You understand? But if you look at the hadith, this is what the hadith say. If he does ruku', you do ruku'. If he does sujud, you do sujud. If he does ruku', you do ruku'. You do sujud, he does sujud. If he says Sami Allahu liman hamidah, you say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. It doesn't say, and if he sit down, even though you have no problem, you have to sit down. He explained the things where that you have to do with the imam. He doesn't say, if he recite, you recite. Even though there is a weak narration that says if he recites Quran, you have to listen. That it is weak narration. But it doesn't say, in the meantime, you don't take it generally. Forget about the weak narration, so we have to ignore it. But then it will be like general, imam. So if he recite, you have to recite. If he pray dhuhr, you have to pray dhuhr. If he is praying 4 rak'ah, you have to pray 4 rak'ah, even though you are traveling. It doesn't work like that. The hadith was general, what we say mujmal, and then mufassar, and then he explained it. He went into details. Yeah. Now even the salam. If he does salam, you don't have to do salam. We know generally of what you are following him in, you definitely don't do it before him. The things that you are following him in, because he is imam. But it doesn't mean that you have to follow him in everything. When he is reciting, some people took from this, like the Ahnaf, that if the imam is praying dhuhr, you have to pray dhuhr. And the majority contradict them, and they use hadith of Mu'adh, that when he prayed Isha with the Prophet, and then he went, they say if he was behind the Prophet praying Isha, then he definitely was praying Sunnah for his people. And if he was praying Sunnah, which is very unlikely, behind the Prophet, then he was doing, then he has contradicted the Prophet in his niyyah anyway. You understand? And according to them, they say as well, the Prophet here definitely would have known, because he will see Mu'adh praying with him, and then he has known that he goes back to his people. He has been informed about this praying Isha. Not necessarily the Prophet will think about it that way. You understand? I mean, the Prophet, like, he will think about it. Oh, Mu'adh already. Not necessary that he will think about it. Huh? But still, that is not our proof. Our proof is the hadith is not is mujmal and then explained later. No, it's fine. I think I don't think it will be that. It's not that much noise. Okay. So the Imam, the hadith, when it says this, those people who take this hadith have not been consistent with their views. For example, some of them say as well, like the Ahnaf, they say you have to have the same intention. The majority as well say, if the Imam is reading Al-Fatiha in Shafi'is, for example, they say if the Imam is reciting Fatiha in Maghrib, Isha, where you can hear him, then you can't read the Fatiha before him at the beginning. You must wait until he reads the Fatiha, then you read it. Examples like this. Now, everybody has contradicted the hadith in a way or another. They say if the Imam, if you are a traveler, you pray 2 rak'ah. But if you are praying behind the Imam, you have to follow him, and they pray 4. Okay. Now, how they contradict themselves? The Ahnaf, for example, say if you are a traveler and pray behind the Imam, then you have to pray 2 rak'ah. Then what you do salam before the Imam, and then you pray 2 rak'ah as a sunnah. So they have contradicting the general hadith. They didn't take it. The Shafi'is, what are they going to say about someone who is praying behind the Imam, mute prayer? How do you know that he has read the Fatiha or not? Are you going to guess? I mean, you are going to read, to wait, to wait for him until he read the Fatiha. How do you know that he has read or not? You understand? Those who say you have to pray behind the Imam for rak'ah, if you are a traveler, what does he say? If I am actually now the Imam, and the person who is behind me is a resident and I'm traveling, I pray 2 rak'ah. Does he pray 2 rak'ah behind me? Because he has to follow the Imam. You understand? The hadith is not like that. The hadith is just to follow the Imam in your prayer. You see, if it was general, like some people say, then that means if the Imam is praying do raf' al-yadayn, you do raf' al-yadayn. If the Imam is putting his hand on his chest, you have to put your hand in the chest. If the Imam, like the Prophet, someone comes and try to cross him and he has to fight him, he push him, then you put with your hand like this as well, just if you are fighting. You understand? Doesn't make sense. So the hadith is only about what the Prophet mujmal, and he explained it later. You have to follow the Imam, you don't do anything before him, and you follow him in your prayer. If he does mistake and stand up for the 5th rak'ah, the Prophet, yes, said follow the Imam, but the Prophet as well ordered us to pray the way he pray, and the prayer is 4 rak'ah, not 5. You understand? So, yeah. Then we go back to, this is just quick. Next time if you want, you can come, and then I will give you the hadith place. So you can write it, because you don't have anything to write here. Okay, the hadith. Okay, the hadith. Now we go to the part 2. Takbir. Is it obligatory or not obligatory? Takbir is obligatory. For the hadith of Abu Hurairah, which is in Bukhari and Muslim, where the Prophet told the man who didn't know how to pray, إذا قمت إلى الصلاة فكبر. When you stand up for your prayer, then do takbir. Kabbir. In some narration, قل الله أكبر. Say Allahu Akbar. Now, to say in some madhahib, yes, they say Allahu al-A'zam, Allahu al-Kabir. That is definitely wrong. Allahu al-Azim, but Allahu Akbar or Allahu al-Akbar, that is something that the hadith of Abu Huraira, it looks like is the meaning. The one who said, say Allahu Akbar, it looks like probably it was narrated the hadith by the meaning. So the Prophet said, كبر إذا قمت إلى الصلاة فكبر, do takbir. Yeah, so what you do is you say, it's definitely to say Allahu Akbar is better than Allahu Akbar. And some people who argue can argue this way. If you say if the Prophet have said, say Allahu Akbar, because the two narrations. If the Prophet said, say Allahu Akbar, then we have to say Allahu Akbar. If he said, do takbir, then we still have to say Allahu Akbar, because we don't know how takbir of what? He didn't say kabbirillah, for example. But, okay, what if he says, I am kabir? Is it good? No, you see, you have to say Allahu Akbar. But takbir, you understand? He said, just say takbir. You understand? Some people might argue like this. Huh? But the only thing we can say here is that you have to say that the best thing, definitely it is the best thing to say Allahu Akbar. Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Even this order, there is a different opinion whether it is an obligation or not, which we will come to it inshallah. Still, if it's not an obligation, it's still mustahab.
In the hadith says you can say Rahman.
Yes. Ar-Rahman Akbar, or any name of Allah. Yeah. I told you, this is definitely not the best thing to do. It's better to say Allahu Akbar. But whether to say it's wrong, that is only if we can work out that the hadith of Abu Huraira, the word is Allahu Akbar, but there is majority of narrations is kabbirillah, do takbir. You understand? Is like sammillah,